Okay, welcome back to another episode of Hanging at the Hangar Bar. We're doing the prequels today, Candace.
We are doing the prequels today.
Last year we did episodes 4, 5, and 6. Today we're recording episodes 1, 2, and 3. I have no idea when they're going to release yet, but they're coming.
The episodes, not the movies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we know when those came out.
Yeah.
We know when those came out. So before we jump into the topic of this episode, everybody knows we start with a question of the day.
Did you want to introduce our guests?
We'll get there.
All right.
We'll get there. So the question of the day for everyone is, what is your favorite planet, character, ship, or deep cut element of Star Wars and why? And you can choose whichever one of those you want. I'm giving everybody 30 seconds to think. Favorite planet, character, ship, or deep cut element, and why is it Rey?
That's a whole different question. I think.
Right.
I hate so much about what you just said.
Who's going first? Candace?
No.
Candace is going to say Hoth, so we'll save her for last.
Oh, yes. So much.
She loves it.
I was going to say, if I say Hoth, am I kicked off?
No.
Okay.
Jackson, let's start with you. You sound like you're ready to go.
I kind of have two. Am I allowed two?
Mhm.
I'll try and sum up. I think Yoda might be my favorite character. I think that's kind of my I don't know, hot take, because in the first one the first movie they don't really talk about him. The second one, like, they hadn't decided that he was going to be a puppet. Like, I think that it was such a bold move to make this Jedi Master this little tiny dude, and then fast forward, and since we are talking about the prequels today, fast forward to his fight scene.
Oh,
like,
my God.
Yes.
It's one of the highlights of all the Star Wars movies. And from the voice to the fact that he's a puppet, that size doesn't matter. Wink. I'm off to a good start. So he's probably mine. I'll just stick with that one for right now.
Okay.
I have kind of another one. It kind of has to do with Hoth. The Tauntauns. I always thought those were pretty cool. But
There you go.
I'll stop there.
There you go. Andy.
I'll do a planet just for the sake of switching things up. I think,
Alderaan.
yeah, who doesn't like asteroids? So I think, stemming from being a child watching these, I think I'd have to pick Endor as a favorite planet for all the reasons. It was just cool and exciting. And there's not a whole lot you can do with a desert planet. And we have multiple of those in the movies. We have city planets, which are lame. We got a water planet. So yeah, having a rainforest planet was pretty cool.
Did you have the toy set, Andy?
Obviously. And did you make that past tense?
Huh? I have mine too. Let's get
Okay,
it.
yes,
Yeah,
have,
yeah, mine's.
have,
I
not
have.
had,
Yeah,
have.
I was going to
Yes.
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
why are these not in the recording studio today?
Yeah, right. I brought a figure last time.
You did.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I
okay.
forgot it this time though. Yeah, next time.
I'll correct
Next time.
that for our 7, 8, 9.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
for sure.
Yub-nub.
Oh, yub nub to you too.
Thank you, Candace.
Deep cut. Deep cut. Okay, Candace, how about you?
Favorite character?
For planet or ship or deep cut element?
No, I'm going character.
Okay.
Darth Vader.
Ooh. You are a sucker for a good villain.
I am. And he is unapologetically a good villain. Like, you make him mad, he's just going to choke you.
Questionably one of the best.
Mm-hmm. And he's got awesome theme music.
And since this is going to be talking about Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm, they did him justice in the villain realm with Rogue One, where you see him wholesale slaughter guys that are screaming for their lives. And then also in Kenobi, when he kills innocent civilians in that town, purely trying to draw Kenobi out. It's funny, we all think of Vader as this villain. And when you think about the original 3 movies we saw him in, he kills like a couple of his own dudes.
Right.
Cuts off Luke's hand, okay. And he's this like arch villain of the whole galaxy.
So I think we maybe need to look at the point that he may be the chosen one.
Okay. Save that for episode 3.
I will.
Yeah, these are stuff I've written down and kind of stuff. Some of the stuff you're already saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I like where we're going
Yeah.
with it.
Save that for episode 3 after we've been drinking,
Okay.
because that will be a very fun conversation.
Sorry, Candace just got me hot and bothered.
There it is.
As someone who's in the room, we can all attest.
That is hot. Okay, so I'm going to go a deep cut moment of a film that I I just absolutely love, and it has nothing to do with plot, has absolutely nothing to do with characters or planets.
Is it I Love You, I Know?
No, that would have to do with plot.
But does it?
So my favorite moment of any Star Wars film is when C-3PO is in the control room when they're on the planet and the stormtroopers come running in and one of them hits his head.
Oh, yes.
That just makes me laugh. Once somebody pointed that out to me, I laugh at it every single time.
'Cause you can't
Wait
unsee
for
it now.
Yeah. It's like, it's coming. It's coming. Ah, he hit his head.
It's pretty fantastic.
It is. It's one of my favorite moments in all of Star Wars. It probably tells you I'm not as deep a fan as others, but it's...
No, when you appreciate the films as much as we do, I think you're allowed to find the humor in those types of
Right.
things. And for you guys being stage people, for sure, when you watch Luke sitting at the dinner table on Tatooine in episode 4, there are some major blocking inconsistencies. And it looks like he's switching hands a whole bunch of times because at the time he's doing it for the camera, and now you watch it and you're like, this would never have made it through an editing room. But there it is.
There it is. Okay, so that's the kickoff to this episode, which, as Andy alluded to, is going to be all about the purchase and acquisition of Star Wars and Lucasfilm by Disney. So that's what we're going to dig into in this episode. So grab yourself a drink. What are we drinking?
We're drinking the Jedi Mind Trick.
Which is vodka, curacao, and a little bit of Sprite.
A lot of vodka.
A lot of
Okay,
vodka.
A lot of vodka. That's just the way it is. It is. So sit back, grab yourself a drink, and enjoy the episode. Hey, welcome to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. I'm Scott.
And I'm Candace. We're here to chat all things Disney as child-free Disney adults. Stories, snacks, and a little magic along the way.
Grab a drink and get comfy and come hang out with us.
Let's start by introducing our guests again.
Okay.
We always do that after the cold open.
Excuse me.
Pardon. Okay, so we again have with us two dear friends who are huge Star Wars fans. I'm going to save the nerd word for later.
After
But
we've had more to drink.
after we've had more to drink, I almost said the N word, and I'm like, that
Yeah,
isn't going to go
No,
over
well.
that
Don't
will
say
not come out.
Don't say that.
We need to not be canceled. We just had a milestone in our podcast. We don't need to be canceled.
We did. We had that, but then that's all.
So I'm going to ask them just to really quickly give like a minute-long introduction of themselves and their fandom to our audience again, just to refresh because it's been a year or so. So Andy, we'll start with you. We welcome Andy to the podcast. Just tell us a little bit about you and your Star Wars fandom.
I've been a lifelong Star Wars fan ever since I first saw Return of the Jedi in theaters. That was the first one I saw in theaters. I had to see the other ones on Betamax or VHS or whatever it was. So have liked it ever since, collected the toys, then continued to collect memorabilia and action figures and everything else, toys, ever since then. So now I am a father whose kids all enjoy Star Wars as well, and so it's very much alive in our household still to this day.
Have either of your daughters ever been Leia for Halloween? Or Rey?
No.
That wouldn't be allowed.
I have some love for Rey.
I can't wait to talk about why.
No, it's all good. No, they my son has been Star Wars characters. My girls, although they do appreciate Star Wars and they own Star Wars t-shirts and stuff, because one of the things that we'll touch on is Disney actually making for girls clothing, because my girls, much like many others throughout the U.S., have enjoyed Star Wars. So they've been able to embrace it and show that. But no, not for Halloween. It's
Okay.
usually something more important, usually, for Halloween. for
Right,
them.
like Hello Kitty.
Oh.
Really? Actually, speaking of Halloween, if I can interject,
Sure.
there was a time back when episode 4 came out. I saw that in the theaters. I went as Princess Leia for Halloween.
I'm so proud of you.
And it was when they had the gross hard plastic
Yeah,
mask,
the
with
mask.
the like partial cinnamon bun on the side.
Yep.
And then the polyester that if you went anywhere near a fire, it would just melt right to you.
Right.
But it had a lovely Star Wars screen print all over the front of it. And then I had like a blaster gun that made 2 different noises depending on the button that you
Oh,
push.
that's fun.
Can
That's
you
fantastic.
do the noises that it made?
No.
Dang it.
So
Jackson, what would those have sounded like, you think?
I think it would have been like
It was kind of awful, actually.
pew pew.
That was one of them.
Was
The
it
other
really?
one was like almost like a screech.
Ooh.
Like it was very strange. I don't know where they came up with it, but it was Mattel. So
yeah, same time frame. I was C3PO
of course you
one
were.
Halloween in that same dumbass plastic mask.
And then like you said, the kind of trash bag that you
Right.
wore to
Yes.
show all the old people what you're actually dressed as.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I
not just
remember
some
being
scary person trying to rob them.
Yeah, and the elastic catching your hair.
right. I remember being so mad because it was cold.
Yeah,
that
you
year,
had to
and
wear
I
a
had to
coat.
put a coat on over
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are they going to know I'm C3PO as I'm wearing this gold mask? That's
C3PO didn't wear a coat.
yeah. Okay, Jackson.
Hi, everybody. Second time, long time. I'd like to thank the Minxes for having me. Kind of like Andy, I grew up watching the films and idolizing Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. And I think I was like Andy, I saw the Return of the Jedi was the first one I saw in theaters and kind of grew up with it. And I was going to say had toys. We actually had this conversation just a second ago that I still have a lot of the toys. I am childless, so Star Wars lives on through me and stuff like this and, friends who kind of feel the same way. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in because, now that you say that, that makes it sound like I was trying to provide some sort of cover for me still loving Star
Oh,
Wars.
no, we know that you
It
love
has
it.
nothing to do with whether or
Right,
not the kids
right,
like it.
right.
If they didn't like it, I just disown them and I still like Star Wars.
You'd return them and get new ones?
Yeah.
We call it
when
being
you-
a good parent.
Okay.
Be like, when you
that's-
figure
yeah.
this out, you can come home. But until then, get out.
Right. Until then, Anakin, you can leave that.
Take the
kids are
high
not
ground,
doing
Andy.
I didn't know you were born with a dark side. Oh, that's too funny. Okay, so let's jump in to Disney purchasing Lucasfilms. We're going to focus our conversation a lot around Star Wars, but I want to be very clear that the acquisition of Lucasfilms came with all the things Lucasfilm. So not only Star Wars, but it came with Indiana Jones, and it came with the Lucas Sound Studio. It came with all of those kind of things. Disney paid $4.05 billion for Lucasfilm back in 2012. Did they overpay?
No.
I don't think I have a concept of how much money that is. Really.
Well, to give you an idea, just recently, Paramount just bought Warner Brothers for $110 billion.
Right. They swooped in and stole it from Netflix,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Is that
Just
Yeah.
to put that number in a little bit of context, that was only 13 years ago, and something as powerful as Lucasfilm was $106 billion less value.
So I agree with Candace with the no. I may elaborate a little bit more than just no.
I didn't know we were open for elaboration. I was
Oh,
just
are we
answering
open
the
for
question
elaboration?
and
Yes.
moving on.
This is a podcast, Candace.
Yes and no's. This is lame.
No.
So Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion, and they got Marvel. Disney then bought Lucasfilm, and like you said, they got Skywalker Sound, LucasArts, which is their video games,
Mm-hmm.
that whole
Industrial Light and
platform, all the Indiana Jones, all the Star Wars franchise. But they also inherited then, or I guess purchased, not inherited, ILM, Industrial Light and Magic,
Right.
the revolutionary, special effects group. So I think 4.05. So they did pay a little bit more for Lucasfilm than for Marvel, but I think they made out like bandits,
Yeah.
and they easily recouped that.
Yeah. If
With
you
the
think
couple
about how much
movies that they-
money they've made.
Oh yeah, the first couple movies they already got that back.
Right.
So yeah, they're fine.
Yes.
Thanks, Jackson.
No, I don't think I can say anything more. That's exactly. I think they've made their money back. I think they movies, TV shows, video games. All the stuff that they were able to do. Now, how well they did with it, I think, is kind of coming up. So
Right,
that's
yeah.
something I've have more to say about.
We'll
it.
kind of get into that in the next segment.
Plus, they put their own spin on it and have all the merch and all the, they've been able to capitalize on the merch that was already out there
Right.
and add so much more. Look what they've done with theme parks, and
Right.
we may
They
be
put
getting
all
there,
the
but
Right.
lightsabers in the parks. And,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
building
Theme
of
parks will
Troy.
come in the next episode of the show a little bit more, but we might touch on it a little bit today for this one.
I thought this podcast was in America where we could do what we want.
Clearly not.
Well, which version of America? No, we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
We are not going to go there.
F
Okay.
the patriarchy.
There it is. There it is. Okay. So when Disney bought Star Wars, do you think they bought it to make movies? Did they do it to build a universe, or did they do it to build experiences, or all three? And how successful were they?
I thought they built it, or they bought it to do all those things. I think they were buying the universe, the movies, the TV shows, the merchandising. They built, in the parks, they built that whole section, that is pretty phenomenal. I think there's been some real home runs and some real big misses, but
Including the experience of the Galactic Star Cruiser, which I hope we're going to talk about that because I have things to say.
Maybe not in this episode. Make sure you remember that one, because
But
that
we
one
are
can.
going to talk about that.
Yeah,
Okay,
we will
you
get
just
to
let
it.
me know when I can talk about it, and we'll talk about it.
Even if it's episode 3,
I'll try
we
and
can.
remember.
Yeah. Do you need to write it down?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Lock it into your brain before you have another 2 or 3 drinks.
we're going to have a lightsaber fight. I'm pretty sure, you guys. 'Cause this is getting exciting.
It is.
It's charged in here.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, here's going to be the first. I think this might be the first hot take question. Is Star Wars today bigger than George Lucas ever could have made it? Or do you think Star Wars would be better if George Lucas had kept it and kept building the universe himself?
I think those are two different questions. I think it'd be better if George stayed at the helm, but I don't think he would have done as much as Disney did.
Right.
Because he
Like
doesn't
Jackson
have
said.
their financial power.
Right. They bought that universe for our universe and everything that goes with it. Merchandise and the story
Right.
building and all the character building and everything else. So we know from the 80s to the 90s until he finally decided to do the prequels, there was, I don't want to say nothing. There were books and there were novels, comics, that kind of stuff, but those weren't George. Those were people getting the license to then make stuff based on his characters and movies. So we saw like a 20-year gap, and then he came out with prequels, and then
Yeah. Like, here, I'm going to give this away.
and there was a lot of merchandising. He had a lot of action figure stuff going. That was about it. He had some video games, that were important. But then when you see Disney come in, and they bought it, and then all of a sudden we're getting movie after movie. And I know there's some fans that maybe think that we got flooded with that stuff,
Mhm.
I'm one of those fans.
Yeah, and we did. We got flooded. We got immersed with Star Wars. However, we also got immersed with Star Wars, which we wouldn't have got with George.
Right.
So I think that's two very different things. I think it'd be better, obviously, if he kept at the helm with his vision instead of handing it over to Disney, who then kind of went, okay, we have all your stuff. It's not canon. We're going to call it Legends. We're going to do our own thing. But then we got a lot of cool stuff.
Right.
We got some fails, as Jackson pointed out, but we also got a lot of wins.
I think there are some wins. Well, so do you think that, with how how he treated the prequels, which were admittedly probably not everyone's favorite, if he had kept going and completed the 9 films, do you think that, that he would have handled those better or worse than Disney?
I think they would have been more along the lines of what fans
Mm-hmm.
wanted, because the fans, he grew the fans out of his
Ooh.
vision.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever he went with, I think people not only would follow him because of who he is, but also because they were already drawn to his creation,
His vision.
his vision, his
Yeah.
characters,
Okay.
his storytelling. Whereas then all of a sudden you get Disney, who goes, hey, J.J. Abrams is really good with explosions. And then we're going to pass it off with no concept to Rian Johnson. And then we're going to pass it back to J.J. Abrams, still with zero tangible actual script storyline.
That's one of the fumbles that I was talking
And,
Yeah.
Right.
and to be fair, I think with, I don't know why, but there are some people that are anti-Disney, right? And so I think the fan base that he built came along because they had to, not necessarily because it's, oh, Disney's got it. I wonder what magical things they're going to do with it. I think it's just, well, we don't have another choice because they have it now. And if I want to keep going and be part of this fan base, I have to put up with this.
Yeah, it didn't necessarily make new Disney fans.
Right. Although it should.
Right. It brought fans with it. And that's why they purchased Marvel. That's why they purchased Star Wars. They
Right.
purchased these franchises that already have a huge fan base and following. And then they get that. They absorb that.
Yeah.
And so, again, had George just kept to it, I think you'd have a smaller, maybe, group, but more devoted. There's been a lot of
Yeah.
fan rivalry ever since Disney took it.
We'll dig into Kathleen Kennedy a little bit more later.
You guys should see Candace's face right now when he said
Do
that.
do you think that they offered George the presidency of Lucasfilms and he turned it down to be an advisor, or do you think they wanted to separate themselves? Because like everything we're talking about could have been solved if George had still run the company, in air quotes, it just owned by Disney.
But it could have been a contract negotiation. Like, we will pay you $4.5 or $4.05 billion if you maybe stick around as an advisory, but we don't want you all up in what we're going to do with this. So stand down.
Okay.
I almost think that Disney wanted final say.
Yes.
Right. And I knew you guys would know. And I think that's to put him in charge. It's like, okay, well, we're not going to be the person who just funds your vision. We want to be able to control this and right the ship, which they didn't.
Well, I think George also kind of got sour towards Star Wars based on the fandom, because it's a horrible fandom. I mean, every fan will tell you that.
Agreed.
We all hate each other for some various reason that we don't like the same movies or whatever. And we saw that with George. So I think it was a mutual, I'll step away, you can have it. Take Kathleen to kind of help guide, because she's been in my back pocket ever since the Indiana Jones and everything else. So
Just stay there. Oh,
she had a decent portfolio, Candace, to actually give hope. Now, again, we'll talk about what that turned into later, but a new hope, if you will. Thanks, Jackson. I've never heard that term. I like that.
They should make a movie out of that or
Yeah.
something.
But when George negotiated, he got all his Lucasfilm staff to like stay where they are, stay hired. They got stock in Disney. He took part cash, part stock for he knew what he was doing when he negotiated this. And I think if he wanted to actually continue holding the reins for Star Wars, he would have or could have. I think he was happy to let it go. And I think Disney was happy to go, yeah, we'll make it ours.
Right.
So-
He was happy to take $2 million in cash and $2 million in stock options to go sleep at Skywalker Ranch. And
Right. Because when he's getting
Make wine.
death threats
Right.
from fans, quote unquote,
Right.
because of the prequels, because of Jar Jar, because of whatever they are angry about all of
Right.
a sudden.
death threats, really, though?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
people are stupid.
What?
Yeah.
And if
People
you-
were mad.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
understand being mad. I mean, Jar Jar was stupid, but
Me so angry.
death
Sorry.
threats?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
So
some
as-
crazy people out there.
As I was prepping for this episode, one of the things that I actually found out was that of that $4.05 billion, Lucas donated most of it to charity.
Of course he did.
He didn't need the money.
Right. When you're a multi-billionaire already.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Two
What's
billion?
$2 billion amongst
That's
friends?
cute. Yeah.
That- yeah.
You guys need something? Here's some change.
Right. I got this other $2 billion of stock that's going to continue to grow that I can cash in on when I want.
Right,
Mr. Lucas, if you're listening, you can find us on Patreon.
That's right. Or we'll take sponsorships for Skywalker Ranch wines or whatever he wants to sell
Whatever.
on our podcast.
I just want a real lightsaber.
They're making them.
That'll be safe.
Yeah, sounds great,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Flash forward to the Rick and Morty episode where they drop the. Yeah. All right, moving on. Sorry.
Moving on. Okay. Let's shift into storytelling a little bit. What do you think is something that Star Wars has done that George Lucas never would have?
You mean Disney has done?
Yeah, what did I say?
Star Wars.
Star Wars universe. What's happened in the Star Wars universe that George never would have done?
Theme parks.
That's a good one.
How involved was he with the animated stuff? Because I know the Clone Wars. Was he involved in the first?
And his daughter really carried the torch on that too for a while.
That one is one I wasn't real sure about.
And we had Star Tours at Disney for a long time.
Right.
It's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. It's upgraded.
They're actually closing it
Uh,
at Disney World.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
But they've had Star Wars, and that was the closest they got to a theme park.
Can we get the AT-AT that's outside of it and put it in the backyard?
You email someone and ask how much that would cost.
Josh, tomorrow, please call me. I know you're busy, but please call me.
So you want me living in your backyard?
Sure. Oh, we could turn it into like a treehouse thing.
Ooh, make it,
Airbnb?
yeah, make it an Airbnb in the backyard.
I mean, they'd have to.
Andy Jackson, get out of the backyard.
They'd have to talk to the live-in managers, Andy and Jackson. Yeah. The squatters.
Put your shirts on and get out of here.
We may need the live-in managers, but I do require that you wear stormtrooper outfits while you're managing.
I think we can. Yeah.
Only on check-in days, though.
Right.
Just the top half, right? Can we win? Can we Winnie the Pooh it?
No.
It's Disney, so yeah.
If it's good enough for Disney, it's good enough for us.
No.
I think besides what bring us back on track,
Sorry.
things that George Lucas and Disney done different, or something that Disney would do that George wouldn't have done, I think it's just that building of the universe that we've seen. We've got a lot of post episode 6 kind of stuff from Disney. And I think George would have hopefully would have given us 7, 8, 9. But with what they've done in the expansions and all the dabbling in the various corners and different genres of Star Wars, including the Acolyte, which is, pre-episode 1 and everything, they really kind of expanded and tried. Yeah, and I know it's not every fan's favorite, various avenues they took, and they kind of did a blend of that. If anybody on here has watched The Skeleton Crew, that's a post Star Wars but also a pre Star Wars once you start unraveling the plot, and they've done fantastic at different things like that I don't think George would have done.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question is, what do you think Disney does better than George could have done?
I think, like Candace said, due to their pocketbook, they're able to reach out and do a lot more than what he would have been.
They
Yeah.
can expand it a lot more.
George
The
never would have
fireworks.
bought Batu. He never would have built Batu.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that.
Because Batu's not in the store. I mean,
Well,
it's not.
it's not in George's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not in his backstory for Star Wars. But what I'm saying is he never would have built a Star Wars land.
Right.
Again, it kind of goes back to what Andy was, because pocketbook, like
Right.
there wasn't a place for it, but now that there's these parks that they can put things
Bottomless
into,
pits of money.
and yeah, I think they did that well. Again,
Yeah, that land is spectacular.
I agree.
Which era feels more creative? Do we think George was more creative with stories and Disney plays it safe?
Yes, 100%.
I think so.
How does that show up?
I mean, that when you look at the original 3, and I know this is a prequel chat, so
No,
whatever.
that's just naming convention.
Okay.
I'm being funny with our naming convention, just doing it in the same order that the movies were released.
Okay. But where I was going with that was you can't improve on 4, 5, and 6. Right? I mean, those set up the true story. Those set up the true characters. Those set up all of the things. And when they re-released them out on VHS, however many years ago that was, they had to bring in CGI and enhance them, which I think is garbage, because they couldn't improve on what was already there. And I think what Disney has done while they've expanded it, I don't think that without those original 3 things, any of this would be possible.
Well, even the prequels, I think, are more storytelling than the sequels. The sequels is the first episode, and the sequels is basically a retelling of Luke's. It's just Rey. Then the middle one is just a cluster mess. That's the nice second. Use more colorful language later. And then the third one is just them trying to clean up all their other stuff and shoehorning the Emperor into the mix because no one liked the bad guy. So, I mean,
And they couldn't figure out what else to do,
Yeah.
other than use George's original idea.
right. Like, again, say what you want about the prequels. At least it was an original story. Obviously, there was characters, but he's telling the backstory of this, and it's at least an original thought.
And with George, it always has been, from episodes 4, 5, and 6, and then 1, 2, and 3, a space opera. And then Disney takes it and they make it explosions and they make it, this fast action.
They're trying to make it Marvel.
Yeah,
I've got that written
100%.
down.
Yep,
Yeah,
they're
that's
making
actually-
it Marvel. Yep, because again, that wasn't George. And so George, was it more creative with George? Yes, because he had this idea, this concept of a plan, created ILM out of nothing. These guys who knew other guys who went, hey, we need to be able to make this, this shot done 3 different times so we can mat it and everything else. Oh, well, we don't have a computer that can do that because it's 1975. So we'll go to Radio Shack and we'll start soldering motherboards together and we'll make a computer that'll do the same shot. Likewise, the guys over here cutting out the Polaroid so we can drag it across the screen, and they're coming up with all these effects that have never been done. At the same time, Disney's painting on glass and putting it over, Mary Poppins or live action.
I was waiting because they talking about the stormtroopers, how they painted those, like when the big
painting
scenes,
the mats. Yeah,
they painted over the glass when they shot it. So yeah,
Mhm.
like all these really inventive.
So they fit really well together.
Yeah.
So George had this idea and said, let's make it happen. And we'll figure that out along the way. And he did. And then it's his creatures, his characters, everything else. And everything in Disney, that's made then says based off of characters or story, whatever, by George Lucas. Like, you can't change that. George Lucas had that. Star Wars is building off of it.
Right. As you were saying that, it popped into my mind. What other parallels are there between Walt Disney and George Lucas? Phenomenal storytellers,
Creativity,
willing to say
Innovation.
it doesn't exist today. I'm going to go out and make it.
Yeah, on paper, like if you said, let's team these guys up together, like again, and what they should have done, and again, and if I'm George Lucas, I would have been like the same way. Like, I'm gonna go sit on my island that I bought.
Right.
But I think if they'd funded him and let him kind of run with the ball, we would have got something way cooler. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out because they're making more movies. So we'll see if they've learned from their mistakes, and now that What's Her Bucket isn't in charge.
Right. She who shall not be named. Wrong storyline. Wrong story. But-
Yeah, let's not bring that mess into it, please. Thank you.
Okay, before we move
Expelliarmus!
before we move on to the next segment, one more question for you if I remember it, because it just left my head. I hate it when that happens. Oh, which of the directors post George do you think has done the best with the story? And that's that's the 3 sequels, all of the standalone movies, the TV shows. Who do you think has handled the Star Wars universe the best since George stepped out?
Oh, what's his name?
Well, he didn't direct episode 5, correct?
George?
Yeah.
He wrote the script for it, though, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what? So you're
Like which era of Disney are you thinking Jon Favreau?
That's him.
Yeah. So which Disney who has handled Star Wars the best since the merger?
Jon Favreau.
because he directed.
Mandalorian.
Dave Filoni, who did Clone Wars, then had a hand in Mandalorian. I think Filoni has been I know there's him taking the helm now, I think is going to really help redirect Star Wars where it was and where it should be going, because he really held the Clone Wars together, and then he helped Favreau, and then he helped like Deborah Chow and Bryce Dallas Howard, I can't ever say his name, the guy that directed Jojo Rabbit and stuff.
Mhm.
Tita Waikiki.
Yep, that's
Did I
not
do it right?
it at all, but yeah, no, that's
Titi Waikiki.
you all know who
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah. Even
But-
if we didn't get it right, you know who we're talking
Yeah,
about.
those directors have also been phenomenal in their episodes that they've been handed, because what I think Disney failed to do was get fans to do Star Wars. And I know that JJ has claimed to be a fan, but he also had an established movie directing idea, you know,
Right.
how he does things. Same with Ryan Johnson. He said he was a fan. I don't know if he's a fan. I don't know the guy. I know I don't like him.
Same.
But he had his own shooting ways, and
And he did episode 8, right?
Correct.
yeah,
Okay.
and then they handed it back to JJ. So again, I don't know. They're fans, but I think that they were caught up in making their own movie as opposed to making a Star Wars movie.
Right.
Do you think they also gave them parameters like you have to work within these?
I don't think so. And when you look at like JJ, so he is a big fan, he claims, and maybe he is, but he gave us episode 4, and with a female lead instead of a male lead, and that's everything pretty much the same. Episode
7. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was, and sorry to interrupt, Annie, I was going to say J.J. Abrams because I think episode 7 was actually a good start to that. It could have been done really well.
Yep.
And I think, yes, they retold the same story, but I think that could have catapulted into something better. And then episode 8 I can't say it enough that was just
Well, and that's something
It's
that
hot garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of
it's
people
hot
say is
blue milk.
nice.
Ew.
Hot garbage in a trash compactor. Yeah, because JJ, so 7 could have been a neat reboot for a whole new generation of fans. Kind of give us that 4, but bring in new characters.
He
some
gave
of
us
the old
Ray.
characters.
I mean, you can't be mad about that,
sure,
right, Andy?
No.
I think we can.
But Andy's not.
I digress.
You know how Kelly Kapowski, not Tiffany Amber Thiessen, but
Right.
Kelly Kapowski is on my list? Ray. That's not
Bingo.
the
You know
actress,
that
the
can't-
character.
I appreciate her.
About Kelly
Yeah.
Kapowski?
It's Ray.
No, about Ray. I know you know about Kelly.
I did
Kapowski.
not, but
But no, so I think, and that's where I know I've gotten in arguments with people before about, me saying 7 could have been good based on 8. And people are like, oh, how it's either good or it's not.
Couldn't agree
And
more.
8's a whole different movie. Right, but 8 could have been a neat reboot and then new character introduction and then carry on. And if 8 was a good movie, 7 would be fine because it'd be part of a new trilogy. But
Exactly.
instead,
Yep.
8 gave us,
I feel like 8 ruined just about everything.
yeah, it gave us a whole bunch more questions. It didn't answer any questions, came up in 7. It was just kind of a botched together thing. And I think that is kind of what then messed up 9 as well. So now you have a whole trilogy of mediocre.
And I think that's one of the things. I don't know if this was on the list or even what we're talking about. But this is America, and I can do what I want. I kind of will never forgive Disney for is ruining Luke Skywalker, because little 8-year-old Jackson, who thought Luke Skywalker was the coolest person on the planet.
which one?
What? What Disney did to his character was just bad, and it wasn't. It wasn't a good redemption for him. I get what they were trying to do at first, but the execution was just so poor.
Do you blame Disney for that or the director?
I think Disney gave him the job, allowed him to, write that script.
And gave him
Disney's
free
in
will
charge
to do
here.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they could have swooped in and said, okay, we're not doing, kind of like what they probably did for 9. And then they were like, okay, this is a hot mess, but I don't know. So I don't know what the
Do
solution
you blame the
would have been.
kid or you blame the parent? That kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I like
so
that analogy.
it's that same thing because they could have stepped in at any point and gone, hey, Mark Hamill disagrees with it, George Lucas disagrees with it. We're gonna have to say, hey, here's some guidelines. But
Right.
instead, they did what they did, and everybody is unhappy, and then it's kind of done.
Yeah, so that is a great segue into another topic that I want to talk about is the leadership of Lucasfilms. George handed it over to Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know her history. Like you just mentioned a few minutes ago that like she had a background with Lucasfilms.
Mhm.
What was her background?
Yeah, she had been I don't know all the terms in the industry, like vice president or whatever of Lucasfilm for a long time.
How did she not know that there were thousands of pages of books and source material to draw from?
You have to pay attention.
Right. And I think that's where the fan base kind of threw their arms up and everybody, not everybody, there's a couple people that tried to defend her. Hey, she's been with Star Wars. Her name's on a whole bunch of cool sci-fi stuff and action stuff from the 80s and 90s. Like her name's all over credits. Yes. But how much was she actually involved? Because then when she goes on with this whole big, we don't have the books or the comics that Marvel does. And everybody's going, yeah, we do actually. There's a whole fandom
Mhm.
out there for pre and post movie stuff.
But do they consider that canon? A lot, like some of the Steve
So
Zahn
that's-
things, and like,
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because, so Kevin J. Anderson, Steve Zahn, they all wrote these books. There's a bunch more, but those were actually canon. There's actually one guy at Lucasfilm whose whole job was to like read everything and archive it all and put it all into Wikipedia, whatever.
Nerd alert.
Bingo. Not me, him.
Yeah. It's not, how do you get that
But
job?
that was his job, right? To make sure that things are okay, this is canon. Because we said this author can write something. We read his premises. We said, yes, they print the book. It's now canon because we agree with it. Now, George, if he wanted to make his own movie and do something, everybody kind of go, yeah,
It's George.
I got it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's his world. But up until that point, everything was canon that had been produced. If they allowed it to be produced, it was canon. Comics, books, everything. That's why sometimes you get some weird characters that are like, well, this is canon, because there's talking dinosaurs. Well, yeah, that was a comic that they made, and yep, they blessed off on it. So now we have talking dinosaurs in their universe. Cool. Goofy things. But that was all canon. And then once Disney purchased all of Lucasfilm, they went, that's cute. That's now going to be called quote unquote legend. And we're not going to actually have any canon. So they had this like clean bill of sale then to do whatever they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So Kathleen had a long history with them, but apparently didn't know or care that they had plenty of source material. And if they
Right.
said, we get it, but we're not going to use it, that's one thing. But for her to stare at these interviewers over and over again and say, no, we don't have anything like that. You just told the entire fan base
That you don't care.
that you don't care enough to actually know anything about
Right.
your franchise that you're supposed to be spearheading now.
So I
Right.
think there's kind of a stigma with going back to source material sometimes. Like you never want to tell the exact same story again. So for them to go back to, some of this stuff that, I don't know, it's someone like me doesn't know exactly what's canon and what's not. And like, you kind of want to blaze a new trail. You see that in Marvel a lot. They'll take aspects of 2 or 3 different storylines in comics and put those into the movies. But I don't know. I feel like there's kind of a stigma with, they wanted to do something new and sell new toys. And
Yeah.
that
And
kind of
You
if
stuff.
can,
they
but-
wanted to do an immediate movie right after episode 6, and they went, there's already these novels that kind of cover that. Sure. And then they have to make that choice. But again, the blatant statement of there is no such thing just pissed everybody off.
Right.
Right.
And had they gone, there's already canon for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a movie that takes 40 years after, and it's going to use the stuff from the established canon to build this new story. Yeah, there's a billion ways around it. The most minimal thing she could have done is just own, like, yeah, we have a whole bunch, but we're going to do,
We're going
It's
to
different.
blaze our own trail.
yeah. When you just flat out say you don't know that stuff exists, that's when everybody just lost you.
Right. And I think that goes to a lot of what we've talked about before about Disney as a whole when they're reimagining things and refurbing things and all this. You have to remember where you came from because your fan base is built on where you came from. And if you can give them even little nuggets of the things that are comfortable and the things that they know and the things that they can identify with, expansion is limitless on that. But if you
Right.
completely wipe the slate and sort of alienate your fan base, that's when people get spicy.
Right.
But then I think I know what you're saying, but there's a fine line because then if you give them too much, you get Solo. Where
Oh,
every
100%.
single, like when it's every, like, oh, here's some dice that were in there. Here's how he got his name. Like, here's how he got his blaster. You can't just, and then shovel it on at some point. It's got to have meaning and substance.
Right.
So something that you mentioned, the fan service essentially is what we're talking about, right? That's something that we didn't see for a while. With 7, 8, and 9, we had all new characters, all new planets, all new everything, and we're like, I get it, we're in a galaxy, but like we don't know any of this stuff, and it's all brand new. And other than the Millennium Falcon, everything's like pretty much different or new. And then as we start watching like Mandalorian, that kind of stuff that Disney did, and they're listening to Favreau and Filoni and these guys, and they're dropping comments about Gungans, that then they'll throw at the prequels. And then they mention something about something from the sequel trilogy. And then they mention stuff about the original trilogy. Yeah. They're putting it back together. And they're giving us, I think, the fans what they, like, we just need a little bit to know it's the same
When you use it
universe
as a
even.
garnish, if that makes or
Yeah.
a spice, like don't make it the whole thing.
Right. We
But-
don't need
but
Solo.
We're
it's-
in we're in a universe like you're gonna run into you're as dumb as a Wookiee. You know, like
Yeah.
just even the vernacular they use, and like just put a little salt on that chicken.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just those
Solo
little
was
Yeah.
all
bites
that.
of familiarity,
Yep.
Yes.
7, 8,
Yep.
9 had none of that.
which maybe is why I don't like them.
Could be.
Well, right, and that's why a lot of fans were like, "This isn't our
This isn't Star Wars.
yeah, this isn't Star Wars." They
Like,
got
who are all these
lightsabers.
people? I got to know everybody all over it. No,
I want this to be familiar and comfortable. Kiddish shakes fist at Cloud. That's,
You spent all this time like
Right.
invested in these characters, and that's in the prequels. You're like, okay, I at least know, who Anakin Skywalker
like where they're
is.
going to end up.
Right.
Right.
And so like you have some attachment to it. But I feel like the sequels had almost zero of that.
right.
And I feel like they had a really good opportunity to do that. And they're like, nope, Rey is just a random chick.
Right.
We'll
It's
come
like
back
those-
to my hot take here in episode 3, based
Okay.
on what you're talking about, Jackson.
Okay, so there's 2 more things I want to do in this episode. We're going to pause for just a minute, though, and we're introducing a small new segment of unhinged questions from a Star Wars fan, in air quotes, meaning she loves episodes 4, 5, and 6. She could give the rest away. Am I wrong about that?
Mandalorian's pretty good,
Mandalorian is good because I forced you to watch that.
right? But at least I did.
You did. You did.
Good job,
So
Thanks.
we're going to pause for
Scott.
just a minute and let you ask just whatever unhinged Star Wars question is in your brain. It doesn't even have to be episode related. We're just going to pause for a second and let you ask an unhinged question.
Okay. So my unhinged question for this time is: you said earlier that when Disney purchased Lucasfilm, they bought all of Lucasfilm,
Yes.
right? My question is it possible that the Indiana Jones stories are just fever dreams that Han Solo had while he was frozen in carbonite?
Well, now they have to be.
Right. That is now canon.
Also, Scott, what is the rule about kissing your wife on the face? Because that's fantastic.
It's all her decision.
All right.
It's
No,
F
that's
the patriarchy,
You're
right?
right, not
It's-
patriarchy.
yes.
I think that now that you've said it, it's 110% that is exactly what is going on.
And I mean, if he's having a fever dream of Nazis, but really it's the Empire at hand. I mean, it's
It all
all
follow-
yeah.
Oh,
Right.
It's
Yeah.
all
Why
right
not?
there.
He's in a desert planet. He's in the
Roaming
He's
around
in
the,
the
desert,
desert
in
fighting
Egypt.
the Nazis.
There
It's-
are aliens in the later ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the bad ones.
Well, there's only 3 movies, so
Yes,
that's
Andy's
all
correct.
we're gonna
Yep.
stick to.
Right.
Well, and to get Sean Connery into Star Wars is a dream of mine.
right.
Yes, lightsaber.
Would he have been Dooku? If that would have been
Oh,
possible?
That would have been. I don't know. The guy who played Dooku was
He
He
pretty
did a
good.
fantastic job.
He did
Christopher
good.
Lee
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
Was
Let's
it
just
Christopher
leave it
Lee?
at
Yeah.
Was that Christopher Lee?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
So I don't think we have an answer to that question, but we all want it to happen now.
Yeah.
Like in some future Star Wars thing, they need to mention that.
I think the answer is yes.
Yes.
So
Well-
how I think they should do it is I think they should bring back Indiana Jones for one more movie, and I think he should be waking up from a sleep and
In
having all of
cover.
that.
At,
bi-
at the end of it, Han wakes up.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Like he finds some book somewhere of his ancestors, since this was a galaxy long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away. And he's actually relatives with Han Solo, and he finds the stories.
Oh,
So-
the relatives.
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Ancestors.
We do
Okay.
know that that's a possibility too, because we know that 3PO and R2 are hidden within the Indiana Jones universe. So we know that there is a connection. So maybe that is part of the fever dream that he's having. And I would love if anybody from Disney is listening right now. that
TM,
after
by the
we
way.
see-
TM.
After we see Kylo kill Han in episode 7 and run that lightsaber through him, I would love if all of a sudden we cut to now Harrison Ford waking up and being like, wow, that was effed up.
Yeah.
Good thing that never happened. And then we have episode 8 and 9 to do still.
Right.
Easy peasy. Lemon
See, all the
squeezy.
problems go away.
They've proven that they can do AI ads to the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They've done it a lot in the original
I think
trilogy.
we have an easy out right here.
Right. Lucasfilms, Pay us for the idea.
TM.
Okay, so great unhinged question. I will look forward to more of those.
Okay.
That was a fantastic distraction. Okay,
Good job, Candace.
so going back to Lucasfilm's purchase, what do you think is the biggest difference between the different eras' leadership? Is it clear storytelling? Is it one is more on making money? What do you think is the biggest difference between pre-2012 and post-2012?
Cohesiveness.
Tell me more.
I think love them or oh God, I love it. Scott, you have no idea. Every week when I hear you say that, sorry, cohesiveness, because when Lucas was in charge. If love or hate the prequels, he had a vision, and it was executed from start to finish. Yes, there's bad writing about sand and other things, but take it or leave it, it's his vision. He gets it done. He has this story that he tells. And I think Disney had too many people saying, oh, we should do it this way. We need to do it this way. And that's why I really do think if J.J. Abrams was in charge from start to finish, I think we would have got a much, maybe not, we hold Star Wars, the original trilogy, to such a high standard. And obviously nothing's ever going to hold a candle to that. But I think that we would have got a much more cohesive, even though he was probably getting a lot of, people telling him what to do.
Right. So Kathleen Kennedy kind of gave away storytelling rights to other people, different directors, different storytellers, that kind of thing. Whereas I think George kept the storytelling rights. He had one person that he trusted looking at all this stuff being submitted for canon. He's like, no, I want to add to that, or I want to do something different. And everybody's like, okay, it's George. He gets to do it. But he still had one voice.
He oversaw the movies that were being directed by other directors.
Right. To make sure they fit within the story.
Right.
Whether you like the characters or not, George signed off on it. Do you think that central creative voice is missing still?
Not in The Mandalorian. Look at Favreau, just like you were talking about. I mean, that's obviously hasn't directed everything, but he has final say.
Mhm.
Right.
And you have, what's her name? Bryce
Dallas Howard.
Fantastic director. And we have these directors, but the actual story, I'm more than certain that he's been involved, like getting from A to B. So I think they've kind of figured that out. I think probably through the sequels that like we can't do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think Filoni is going to be a saving grace in that, because he also, from the Clone Wars on, has had dabbling in the Star Wars universe and helped connect things and make things, like George always said, like poetry. It doesn't have to be an exact story. It has to be poetry. It has to rhyme. It has to make sense. And so I think Filoni is going to be the one doing that, because, we all got upset with the whole midichlorian thing instead of this mystic force. But then all of a sudden we have in episode 9 this cloned emperor that's back somehow, whatever, and all these clones on a whole different planet has a whole army of Star Destroyers that are like crewed by people. Anyway, that's a whole mess, right? But Filoni went, hey, to get from A to B, midichlorians in the blood, Mandalorian now is revolving around them trying to get this force-sensitive creature so they can draw blood and try to clone, so they can try to, clone force-using abilities, and this M count of midichlorians within Mandalorian. So he's trying to connect everything and make it, okay, we're given this, well, let's make it make sense,
right?
And he's trying to connect everything. There's an actual skeleton now to the story, at least, being built through Favreau and Filoni, and I think we're going to have that now.
Yeah, and so just to pause for a second, just for those that might not know, if you're not Star Wars fans, Kathleen Kennedy announced she was stepping down as of, it was just a couple months ago. We're recording this end of February. It was beginning of the year that she announced that she was stepping down. I don't know when that becomes official, but Dave Filoni is taking over as president of Lucasfilms, and I think there's general excitement about that, right?
Yes, yeah. I think from comments that I've seen online, and talking to, Andy.
Right. Andy is our Star Wars Bible.
Yeah.
Andy won.
That's
Ooh.
So Candace is the map. What does that make Andy?
Andy won.
Andy.
Yeah, that's...
Where's Andy 2?
Wow.
Okay. So I have just a couple of questions, more rapid fire, to kind of wrap out this episode. This was a great discussion, but so we can spend as long debating these as we want. We're not long on time. So do you think we are overall in a stronger Star Wars era than we were in 2012, and why?
I do, because they're starting to figure it out. Like, we went through the mess. They tried some things that clearly didn't work, and now they're getting back to the original intention, maybe, for what this was supposed to be.
Okay.
And I think it's just going to get better from here.
It's funny that how you put that, Candace, because I agree 110%. I said we're coming out of the mud, because that's kind of how they feel like we're kind of stuck in the mud with it, and it feels like we're kind of like coming out with I think The Mandalorian is a good. We'll see how the movie goes, but I think the series has been fantastic.
Yeah, the series is fantastic, and I've started to read some people that are really skeptical just because of the trailers of the movie.
Really,
Yeah.
I've seen some negative comments too, but
And it all started because of their Super Bowl ad, I think.
Right.
Like, and you can't take a Super Bowl ad as a movie trailer.
Right. Once they released the most recent trailer, gave a lot more to it, and I think people just need to calm down
Right.
and go see it.
Go see a
if
movie.
it's just a long episode of The Mandalorian,
Right.
that's going to
It's
be
still going to be
on
awesome.
par with like Rogue One, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think it'll be just as good.
Yeah,
as that.
I think we were just in this stagnant relationship. We had our breakup. We separated. Now we're finding ourselves again. I think we've gotten some stuff that has fallen short. I will put it
Mhm.
that way. But we have also gotten a lot of good out of it. So I think we're way better off than
Right.
we were in 2012, because we had 6 movies. More than that, I know there's a couple other things here and there, but
There's
essentially
the Halloween episode.
the Christmas special.
Yeah, the Christmas special.
Yeah. And then you walk movies, and there are some things I wasn't going to mention until Scott wanted to bring them up. But yeah, we had 6 films, essentially, 6 feature-length films, and that's about where we were.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think this whole thing for Disney has kind of been an experiment. Because outside of Marvel, they've never really been in the whole sci-fi, space adventure, that sort of avenue before. So this is all kind of a learning ground for them too. And it's more of their innovation and more of their, let's put magic to it. But it's not princesses and
Right.
all those other things. It's like hardcore action, sci-fi with a built-in fan base that is very unforgiving.
Right. And I think it took them a while to figure out that they can't treat Star Wars the same way they treat Marvel, and vice
Yes.
versa.
Right.
Yes.
You
There's gotta
can't
be
treat
some
those movies the
continuation
same
to it.
way.
Right.
Yeah.
Because with Marvel, you bought characters
Right.
that
And you bought a
exist in
story.
this yeah, and they came up with the whole multiverse thing. I mean, just to like help out, but you bought Lucasfilm, you bought franchises,
Right.
and you bought other enterprises.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot.
Right. Okay. So next question: has fandom become more divided or just more visible?
I think more visible and I think more vocal because of social media and because of the internet, because people have been spicy about this ever
Mhm.
since it's been around, but we're just hearing and seeing more because of the readily availability-ness. That's not a word.
Have another drink.
Shush.
So you're saying we're more visibly divided?
Yeah.
The division's always been there.
Yes.
It's
I think it's just
more
easier
noticeable.
to be vocal.
Yeah, I would say that it's obviously, like most things, it's a little bit of both, because also we had a lot less to be at odds about
Yes.
before the acquisition. And now, well, I love this, but I hate this. Mandalorian was amazing. Then they made the Book of Fett, and it fell flat because you tried to make a good guy out of this guy that was incinerating people
Right.
in the movies that we loved, So why I hated it. Oh, why I liked it. So we have a lot more content now. So there's a lot more chances to be divided on stuff.
Right.
I like that.
I like Skeleton Crew. Not everybody likes Skeleton Crew. It's fine. Most people hated Acolyte. Some people still like it.
And I think we all need to get over the fact that opinion is opinion, not fact.
Right.
Because I think there's some people that are like, this is my opinion and I'm right.
And it should be your opinion.
And it should
Right.
be your
And it's
opinion.
not.
and-
So now
right.
yeah.
Well, now we have a platform where
Right.
and I think like you kind of alluded to it, that the internet has a lot to do with that. Now everyone has a platform to give your opinion. And what drives me crazy is, it used to be a big thing for it to watch, a movie trailer. And now people go through frame by frame. They're like, oh, in this frame, in the background, you can tell that so-and-so is going to be,
Let's speculate what this means and get angry about it
yeah,
before
and
we
then
even see the movie.
have a half-hour, YouTube video about it. I mean, you can't just enjoy anything now.
Yeah.
It has to be dissected and
Because we're trying to monetize everything.
yeah. So
We're going to take this 3-minute trailer, and I personally am going to try and monetize it and get people to pay me for my
for
opinion.
views,
Because I
Right.
get views.
You know
clicks.
what?
yeah.
Go get a job.
Right. Okay. What has been the biggest surprise success of the Disney era? And I'll start that one. Baby Yoda.
Grogu, you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Thanks, Candace.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Candace.
Yeah, I think that showed me that the fandom wanted that type of a character. Wanted to see Yoda as a young character, younger than he was in the prequels. And just the way they handled that in The Mandalorian has been fantastic. Like, that was my first introduction to the character Ahsoka. And the way they've used that to bring in other characters, I still don't know. Is Grogu younger or older than Yoda? Like,
a lot younger.
a lot younger. So this takes place after the events of the movies and okay.
Yoda's dead by this point.
Okay.
But also, that helps bring in some of the Disney fandom that I was talking about a little bit ago that are used to more of the princesses and the happy
Right.
stories and all these other things, because here's this cute little thing that he's more accessible.
Right. I can now wear this puppet. I can wear this shoulder pet.
Right. Or I can wear the ears
Right.
and it's fine.
But
And I
look
can
how
meet him in the parks.
look how they did that with that character, though. It's kind of what we were talking about earlier, where it's like we're introducing a new character, but it's one that's in reference to a character you already know.
Right.
Right. There's
So-
that negative comfort.
Right, exactly, and that's how we feel about, we know that this isn't Boba Fett, but we know he's part of the same. Like, so again, there's that sprinkle of like, oh, there's a connection there,
He
and
is in
so
the Fett
I think
family,
that they
doesn't
just
he?
hit it out of the park with that. That was going to be mine too, Scott. So now I'm going to have to. I can go last. So let me think on it a little bit more.
And we can have the same one. We can have the same biggest surprise. We don't have to be surprised by different things.
Mine's little. I'm just. This is just the first thing that comes to my head. In the Acolyte, they had a Wookiee Jedi, and
Ooh.
I thought that was.
I don't
that-
remember that.
It was so cool, and it's one of those like exactly what we were talking about. I was like, we've been waiting to see this, and how cool is that?
Yeah.
Man? You had this giant lightsaber, like it was phenomenal. That show again fell short. I had a lot of that was one I was really looking forward to, and that really fell short. But that was a little nugget that I enjoyed.
Any other surprises from the Disney era?
Since I'm the uber nerd here, I'll say Ahsoka herself.
Okay.
Because when they first dropped her into the Clone Wars, it was kind of that like, oh, we need a cute girl character because we don't have any girls. They give Anakin, who's just then coming out of being a Padawan himself, they give him a Padawan, which doesn't really hold up to Star Wars at all. He's just became a knight, and now he's got a Padawan. And she's like this snarky little teen girl, in her mini skirt uniform, running around with her
Holds her
belly
lightsaber
showing.
cool.
Yeah, and she holds her lightsaber backward. It's cool. And the fandom's like, what are we doing here? And then as she grew and they kind of read the vibe from the fandom, and kind of made her, okay, a little bit more serious. Maybe she's like the angel on Anakin's shoulder, and then she's the eyes of the fan watching him in his downfall. And then they end up fighting each other. And then she realizes that the Jedi are wrong in all their dogmatic ways, and Anakin's wrong because it's the Sith, and so she breaks away, and fans start calling that a gray Jedi because she just kind of went away. She has the Force, she has lightsabers, but she's no longer a Jedi. She disowns them essentially, and then everything that we have up to the Ahsoka series now. So when she first character dropped, everybody hated her.
Right.
There was no love for her.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And then she grew, and she was snarky, and he called her Snips, and she called him Sky Guy. And it was a really cute little thing. People hated it. And then you watch it now, and most of the fandom knows who Ahsoka is.
Right.
and has some sort of respect or love for her. Not many just hate her.
Right. Isn't
I
that
have
the
some respect and
lightsaber you
love
got for Josh?
Rosario
Those are the-
Dawson.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
those are the
That's
hilts that I bought for Josh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was that, Jackson? I missed that.
I have love and respect for Rosario Dawson,
Right.
The real life, the
Yes.
actress who plays her.
Not the character,
Yeah.
the lady. That's-
which is fantastic casting, by the way.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how well she did in the series. She did okay, but like I thought she.
I don't think I've watched the series yet. Is it worth watching?
I'd say it's worth watching. Again,
Okay.
it's not
So-
going to blow your socks off.
For those that haven't watched it, like Scott hasn't watched Ahsoka, there's cool stuff in there. You see some characters from the originals brought back through CGI and everything like we talked about before.
Mhm.
So you get some of your old love back. You got some Grogu still in there, but you also get the first time we really see live action Clone Wars going.
Okay.
And you get to see young Anakin as a mentor to this teen Ahsoka because they go back, and you get to see them with live action Captain Rex and all the clones with them, and they're fighting, and it's just really cool to see for those that actually love Star Wars. It's
Right.
it's a neat series
Okay.
to watch.
There's
I'll
some
have to
there's
watch
some
it.
really neat stuff. Really,
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch
I
it.
think it's worth watching, but it's,
Oh yeah, for sure.
it doesn't quite.
Oh, it wasn't my love, but you have to watch it once, and I think
Right.
you're gonna appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. We're going to end with this question. If you could change one major post sale decision, what would it be?
Episode 8. I'm just
Book of Fett.
really.
Yeah. Oh man, when you take Boba Fett and I'm gonna lead by respect and love because I'm a good guy now. You took Boba Fett,
He
who
rode a
Vader told
Rancor.
him not to incinerate people.
Yeah. Okay.
The only guy to like talk back to Vader
Yeah.
and
And live.
and
that's
live
fun.
and multiple times be like, no, you lied to me. I watch my terms here because he didn't really actually say that anyway. But you
Right.
got that feeling when they're on Cloud City and stuff. He's talking back to Vader, and Vader is like taking it from him, like like that's somebody we reckoned with, and now he can't even.
That's a good take, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
a good.
frustrating.
But it will always hold the fact that he rode a Rancor as dumb as that is. When they released the Lego version of that, I'm gonna buy 10 of them, and I'm gonna have one in Val. I hope you're listening. We're gonna have one in every room of the house.
And we can talk about Lego and their licensing
Yes.
sometime, but next episode.
Yeah.
That's neat too.
Yeah. Candace, do you have anything that you would change?
I would have done Galactic Star Cruiser entirely differently.
Mm,
Oh, that's fair.
yeah.
I think any
And-
fan would actually back you on that.
Save that for episode 3 too, because I want to explore that. How could they have done it differently to make it successful? Like, we don't have time for that
I
now.
want
Are you
to
taking
look at
notes,
that.
Candace? Because you have a lot that you.
You have a
need to-
lot to remember.
I'll try.
Okay.
I'll
If
try.
not, it'll set us up
Someone
for
bring
episode
it.
Yeah,
7,
do
8,
it.
Do
9.
not.
And we
There is
need
no
drinks,
try.
so, yeah.
So I probably won't, but
Yeah, and same theme park kind of one post merger thing that I would have them change is I would have had them go, and we'll get into this in the next episode. I would have had them make Galaxy's Edge with the original characters.
Aren't they?
they're going back.
doing
They're
that,
switching,
right?
and we'll talk
California.
about that in the next
Oh, in
in
California.
Disneyland. So
So are they trying it there first? Maybe.
that would be my guess. Is they're going to see how it resonates in one before they bring it to both.
We should all go and flock there.
Right.
And
So
they'll
should.
Be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Circling back to answer like episode 8, I think that kind of ruined that the whole sequels, and
Yeah.
I think if you fix that one thing, I think that really could have saved the sequels and made them
Right.
really good. So, and I think I said that point in not only this podcast but the other ones we did. So
Right.
I won't belabor the
No,
point,
and I
but-
think it's a very fair point. And I think just the more they can connect people to in the parks, in the movies, in the shows, the more they can connect people to that original kind of feeling, the better off they're going to be. And I think now that they've switched leadership at the helm, I think they're going to start moving that direction more.
To someone
Both,
who actually understands what's
both-
happening.
yeah, both at Lucasfilm and Disney. I think you'll start to see a little bit of shift in the storytelling a little bit, or at least we can hope. So, okay, anything else you want to talk about merger acquisition wise from that before we wrap this one up? Grab ourselves another drink and a snack.
no
Okay.
good episode, guys. That was fun.
Okay, this was a great conversation. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and remember, there's always a great big beautiful tomorrow.
And we'll see you real soon.